9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to WWT Live. It's the Monday edition. It's part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. I am your professor, Gerard Bonner. I hope you are well. I hope your day is going swimmingly well. It's a bit of a different day in the pro wrestling universe because we actually got our Monday Night Raw before the show. So we're going to get into all things Monday Night Raw and the like. It's all about to go down. So shout out to everybody who's joining us. We've got a crew rocking with us today. And first we'll start with the elitist of all things women's wrestling talk. Courtney's in the building. Courtney, how are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Monday, everybody. It's just been a very, very busy weekend for me, but I'm happy to be here with all of you. It just felt so refreshing to have Raw early in the day.
Tell me about your busy weekend.
It was really crazy. So Friday, if you did not know on socials, I got to meet one of my favorite wrestlers, Chris Jericho, in Cherry Hill, and he it was great. I mean, of course, obviously he had a long line, but he was very nice in person. He's very short. As I saw him, I was like, he's very short, because I imagined him being a little bit taller on TV. But anyways, I had a chance to talk with him, and I asked him, did you see Queen of the Ring? And he did say yes. And he actually did enjoy the film, and he actually had the director of the film on his podcast recently. So I'm very happy he did enjoy the film, and that made me happy, and I get to cross that off my bucket list.
Well, very good. That's a lot of fun. It's always good when you get to meet your heroes and they don't let you down in that regard. So with that said, we've got another really, really cool rocker here. And she's the sweetest of all of the Usos. Of course, it is Wrestling with Honey, who I'm sure has her own story to share. How are you, honey?
I am phenomenal. Can I just say I have missed you guys so much, everybody in the chat and all of you. So great to see your faces.
We've missed you.
Yeah, man. I'm just so happy to be here. I was really stoked to be here today. So I'm glad you guys are here. But I'm happy to be here. And yeah, man. I finished my story.
Yes.
I feel like I healed my inner child this past weekend. Shout outs to ISPW in New Jersey and Tommy Fierro, the CEO of that company, doing big things up there in Jersey. And Pachu and I went to an event, and it was phenomenal. Got to meet my hero, which was something I never thought would have happened at 4 years old, which was crazy. But if you guys check out the socials, check out the video. It's pretty freaking epic. And, you can guess who it is.
Oh, well, I mean, Courtney told the world about hers. I figured you'd just go ahead and
oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the hitman, man. It did the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, despite what you hear from my tag team partner. Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of glad the councilman wasn't here for that. So
we finished our story, Courtney,
yes, we did.
in the same weekend. I thought that was so cool.
That was crazy. It was crazy.
That's very, very cool. And I'll tell you, probably the busiest man of the day in all things WWT is one of our great elected officials who normally would be working after the show, but ended up working before the show, thanks to Rob being here early. The mayor is here. Mayor Seth, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm sorry I'm late for my 63rd shift in a row, guys.
I'm just saying, like,
no, you get a round of applause.
You are more than deserving of body butter. I'm putting it out here. Body butter, tickets, and whatever else this man's contract requires. I mean, this man is
and tell TK to run me my footage too.
I'm just saying. and with that said, I think it's probably necessary to also mention that, yeah, you deserve your stuff, sir. You deserve your stuff.
You get all the flowers. You get
all. You worked hard.
Yes, he
I'm
did.
just saying.
I
You
appreciate
Shout
it.
deserve
outs,
your
shout
stuff.
outs to the
So,
mayor.
Yes.
shout outs to the
Trying to
mayor.
get my clips. TK talking about she gotta take a nap and all this. I'm like, all right. Get you beauty.
Uh-oh.
She's here.
Uh-oh.
Let me put this
Well, I was gonna greet all the people. Let me start. I know who you were going after, said. So let me just say hi to everybody. Lewis, good to see you. Cousin, good to see you. Polo Sky, welcome aboard. J for Jada, I'm not mad at that. Let's see. Pachu is here. Dylan representing across the waters in good old Australia. Always good to have you here. Let's see. Jeffrey is here. Good to have you here. Boza, good to see you. 63 strong. I had something actually planned for you today, Dylan, but the things wouldn't let me be great. But just watch us work. Let's see. And yes, Cindio is indeed here. This is going to be fun today. Jasmine's back. Jasmine, good to see you. Good to see you.
I've missed y'all.
Yeah, we've missed you as well. Honey and Professor have not seen the videos. Okay, well, I'll be on the lookout because I've not seen these videos. But I will say this. Obviously, we talked about the work that Sed was doing before, because for those of us in the States, really for the first time ever, Monday Night Raw did not air at its 8 or 9 p.m. slot. And I say that based on when you joined the Raw party. Instead, now with Monday Night Raw airing live on Netflix all around the world, it's going to air live based on the location of Monday Night Raw. And this episode of Raw was in Brussels, Belgium. So we got Raw early today. So shout out to Sed for the early watch party, which you guys, if you were joining us, you had a chance to see. But I want us to have some conversations now that, some of you may not have been a part of the watch party earlier, but I do want us to have a brief conversation about the interaction that kicked off Monday Night Raw between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. Now, we talked about what this whole situation with John Cena could look like, what his first promo should be like, etc. What did you think about what John Cena had to say and his interaction with Cody Rhodes? Courtney, we'll start with you.
John did deliver a solid promo. I will say the last time I heard somebody say John Cena sucks with his theme song was 2005, 2006. I was just like waiting for it. And then he said, "It was because of you. I'm the victim." Just so dramatic in a way, and really just ripping off the Band-Aid and really being honest. And then Cody comes in. I really thought at least he would. I thought John would at least. He dropped a little few unfilters here and there, but Cody came out and really did a solid promo for these two. Of course, next week they're going to be in Scotland. But I actually did watch Michael Cole's reaction to it. I really thought he was going to go unfiltered for a bit. I really, really thought, because he called John Cena a prick, and I thought it was going to be the other thing he said. But it was definitely a solid promo, and John, he wasn't wrong about anything, but curious on how, because it's still early and starting to simmer a bit, but solid promo by him.
Interesting. What's interesting to me is that you've not heard a fan sing John Cena sucks since 2006. I'm not sure what episodes of WWE you've been watching, but they've been filtering that John Cena sucks in there. But
I was gonna say I've been saying it since 2005, 2006, up until the heel turn. I stopped. I'm done.
So Sed, I know you and I talked about it last week, what Cena's return should be. How did you think it measured up to what
Cinema?
Oh my God. And you know what floors me? I was late to the watch along. I thought we were doing this around the middle. I came in to John dropping bombs. I came in. I was like, oh wow, let me hurry up and get on the stream. And then I was like, let me just pull back and just take in what I'm watching in entirety. And he went to the school of Kevin Owens because he didn't tell no lies. Zero. That's good promo work. That's long-term storytelling. He didn't lie about anything. People have this revisionist history just because John hasn't been on your TV every week for the past 5 years. people did not rock with John Cena. I'm one of them. I lived through that era as a 18 to 23-year-old where John was everywhere. You couldn't get rid of him. He was always on top. Every rivalry that you feel like he'll lose, he won. That's why we got Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks. But the Cena Sucks was more vitriol than you can imagine. It was literally the closest thing you can get to probably go away heat.
Yeah.
And then he finally went away. And now we cheer him when he comes back. The most beautiful part of this promo, and I think we were not arguing, but dissecting if they went over time based on other parts of the show, because it's like a 30-minute segment of Raw.
Yeah.
And he said that nobody deserves different. Nobody deserves him to have new music or new gear because this is who he has been the past 25 years. Yeah. And that they cheer him and that we wear his clothes, not the other way around.
Ooh,
beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's a bar.
Like, you can't, if you thought that, hey, like, we're going to get a cool heel to cheer, stuff like that. This was the best part. Like, I don't like you. I'm going to still wear this goofy ass shit I've been wearing for the past 2 decades. And you just going to have to deal with it. Like,
So basically John Cena dropped a diss track and in the form of a promo. That's what y'all telling me. I can't.
I mean, like,
the past 2 weeks have been thinking like, oh, people are like pontificating, like, are we going to get this song off his album? Is it going to be this type of stuff? Is he going to wear suits?
He's like, nah.
Y'all gonna be you don't deserve a change. You're gonna get the same get up because I didn't do nothing wrong.
Yeah. There's so much to be said for it in terms of the things that he said. I mean, the fact that he actually went off on the kids. He went off on the kids, and to again say, I don't dress like you, you dress like me. There was so much to what John Cena said that I think we're going to spend some time really unpacking it. And what's wild is, before it's over, the people are going to absolutely love him. That's just kind of the era that we're in right now. I was there for his first world title defense at a WrestleMania 22 in Chicago, when he fought Triple H, and everybody swore there was no way Cena was winning. Cena got booed out of the building that night, and people were just in pure shock. So you think about what Cena, said, how he felt, and it's really hard to argue. It's hard to argue. Now, we also remember that there are probably many who don't remember John Cena, the Doctor of Thugonomics, right? They don't remember when he had bars for days and when he was not the good guy. They don't tend to remember that. But it's such a departure even from that, because then he was trying to be the cool heel who had one-liners and great zingers as a hip-hop artist. Now he's just telling you, I ain't never liked y'all, and y'all clearly didn't like me. So the breakup is on. And I was just, wait, you're going to love this. The line about, I am breaking up from an abusive relationship.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's total Divas John right there.
It is. It is. I was just like, wow.
I think the most amazing thing about this is that we never saw this coming, considering that we can never see him. But I think it takes a very rare, special, creative kind of mind to be able to still pull off something like this, to be hated for one moment and still be adored and loved because of your history and what you've contributed to the business. And just a little foreshadowing, because my honeypot predictions, I can't imagine that Cody, I mean, everybody has been talking a lot about Cody finishing the story and then going forward to is this same kind of thing going to be passed on to Cody in the future as well, where he is going to have to become the thing he's hated or been against since he's been here? You know what I mean? Like the final boss, the tribal chief, John Cena's turning heel. Is that something that is contagious in the wrestling business for, these iconic baby faces turn heel and back again?
You bring up an interesting point, because John Cena did make fun of the "you can't see me" joke, saying that
he did.
He's had to stick beside it because it's been stupid for the past however many
15
years.
years.
He said,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna stick beside him."
But the Cody thing's interesting. And I think, I mean, call it what you want. Cody is the Captain America of the WWE, but he kind of got his rise to fame as a heel when he left the
Correct.
WWE and did
And
the New Japan
it's
stuff.
and how quickly people forget about that because the kids nowadays are like, "Oh my God, Cena turned heel." Meanwhile, us, we're like, "Well, we've seen this before, but just not like this version. It's just elevated and evolutionized." But yeah,
The only thing
Just
that prohibits
something to
that from
think about.
Cody for me is the tattoo. Like, I don't think it works with the tattoo unless he like covers it in black, like has somebody shade the makeup on it or whatever like that.
Or
know.
unless he goes back to that dark hair. Quick switch
Dark
up.
hair Cody, yeah.
Because
That's gonna reek of when Dolph Ziggler dyed his hair for them like 2 months for me. I don't think it works.
but but this is Cody. Cody could pull it off, I think. If that was to happen. I'm just saying I don't want to jump the gun or anything, but something to think about.
Well, let's look at some of the comments that are here. Let's see. Boza said, thought the fans would have stormed the ring. It was an intense 25 minutes. The only thing I didn't like is that he didn't change up anything appearance-wise. Well, he explained that, which I think was really cool. I was waiting for Cena to go off on Stu, the cameraman. Here's what's interesting. The fact that he didn't acknowledge Stu, I think was massive enough.
Okay.
That was massive enough. Let's see. Cena called y'all SOBs. He did. Special Nobody's good to see you. At first, the crowd was getting on my nerves a little bit, but he played them and their reactions like a violin. Yeah, he did.
I like this comment from Eddie James, and I happen to agree, which is why I brought up the point. Cody has been a heel, and y'all just refuse to see it because he changed the damn timeline.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about and I think we can actually credit Stone Cold for this. Stone Cold was that first tweener who never really changed his behavior, but people just started liking it. So I don't know that Cody has had much an edge to him, certainly over these last few months. And it kind of hinted at a bit of a change. And I mean, think about it. What babyface drops an F-bomb on a live pay-per-view, right? Like that doesn't happen. So yeah, it's interesting. Now, with this said, all of this talk that we've had about Cena, it's very interesting that a WWE Hall of Famer has had something interesting to say about John Cena. That being Jake the Snake Roberts, one of the most recognizable figures, known for his silent but deadly promos, actually went on to his own podcast called The Snake Pit, and he said, quote, I just don't feel John Cena. He says, I've always struggled with him. He just doesn't have the magic. His interviews are okay. His work was good, very good, but he didn't have that oomph. He had to work really hard. Do you agree with Jake the Snake that John Cena doesn't have that it factor? And there's some interesting arguments that can be made on both sides. Courtney, I will start with you.
I'm going to say John has always had that it factor for a while. And also, this is always interesting because we hear from many of our beloved legends, and they always have some critiquing on some superstars, even in this generation or even in the Ruthless Aggression era. But for me, I think there was a time when John first started in 2002, it was just something wasn't clicking. But then when he switched to like the Doctor of Thugonomics, and then he went to Super Cena in a way, there were times in promos he did shift, especially when he showed a little bit of an aggressive side, especially when he had a rivalry with Edge and Randy Orton, and also really showing that. And plus, he's had been solid on promos. So I can't, as much as I don't want to disagree with Jake the Snake Roberts, I do think he's had that it factor. It's just some people like it, some people don't like it, but I believe he did have an it factor in.
Sweetest Oos, what say you?
I might have to agree with Courtney here because, I mean, Jake the Snake, obviously has every right to speak on his opinion in whatever he feels, for the wrestling business. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, he's a legend. But I think that I disagree with his words as well, because John Cena John Cena didn't become what he was overnight. He definitely worked for it. I mean, obviously it shows in everything that he's done in the past 20 years, and now he's retiring, you know what I mean? And he's had iconic moments, and I believe that I believe that John Cena has always had that it factor. He's had that look to him. He has, has Hollywood under his belt now. And I mean, I don't know how much bigger you can get than a global superstar and being one of the most recognizable baby faces in the wrestling business. But I do believe, in my opinion, that he does have that it factor. So I'm going to have to disagree with the snake on that one.
Said, your thoughts?
So I only heard the first part, and now after hearing the whole quote, I'm gonna agree, and here's why. There's a part of that quote that says, "But he works hard." So if he didn't have the it factor early on, he built it, and
Right.
he earned it brick by brick. That's why the company strapped themselves to him for all that time, and he was the show. He was the guy. He carried the banner because he earned it. So maybe coming in, he probably didn't have the it factor. He didn't jump off the page to you. But there was a reason why they shoved Cena down our throats, because he showed up, he worked, he gave his effort. And I think even if, like, for vets like Jake the Snake to say that he didn't have it, maybe that was initially, but you can't deny the fact that he made himself a household name and undeniable.
Yeah, I think for me, just kind of looking at what Jake the Snake says, firstly, I think we have to acknowledge that not everything is for everybody.
Right.
There are certain people that superstar or that fans love that don't quite work for me, and vice versa. And I think that is perfectly okay. I don't necessarily need to speak for John Cena. I think, he said, when you think about the magic, the thing about a superstar is there are some wrestlers that you gravitate to immediately, and then there are others who grow on you. And I think John Cena has become an acquired taste over these years. It is, there are some people who are naturally gifted and who just wake up oozing charisma and just need a little bit of direction. There are other people who work extremely hard at their craft. I think the success of John Cena is the result of him working extremely hard. People want to go back to the Doctor of Thugonomics time, and they talk about even before that. But let's not forget, this is the same guy who was going to a main event of WrestleMania getting cooked by The Rock, and only found a way to come back at The Rock when he saw The Rock had a promo written on his wrist. Other than that, he was getting cooked. So, and that was, basically 10 years ago. He was very much the John Cena who was the man of the company at that point. So I think Cena's success is the result of a lot of hard work. Cena had to become something perhaps that he wasn't. I mean, he tapped into the Doctor of Thugonomics space, but that didn't last. He's still not rapping. He put out one rap album, right? Like he is not, we have to acknowledge that he is not who he portrayed himself to be. He's not the rapper. He's not the guy who loves kids. This seems to be very, very natural for who he is. And so with that said, it's the result of a lot of hard work. And I think even if you go back to his OVW days, Jeffrey mentions him as the prototype. When he was the prototype in OVW, he was the guy that was, live rewinding what was said and bringing it back. Like, that was cool then. He had to find who he was. And when it doesn't come natural to you, you go through these varying iterations. So I don't think Jake the Snake is wrong on this. Now, it might not still appeal to Jake the Snake, and that's fine. But I do think that Cena, his success is not the result of organic charisma, I think it is something he has worked really, really hard on. And I think we should be able to acknowledge that. There's nothing wrong with hard work. Not everybody is where they are because of immense talent and they just wake up like that. People have to work hard and hone their craft. So shout out to him. Just to look at some of the other things that happened. We had the Intercontinental title match, which ended Monday Night Raw. My question now is, it looks very clear that we are in the road for the Intercontinental Championship, went through Finn Balor, and it looks like potentially Penta is up next for Braun Breaker. Any thoughts on that potentially being a thing for WrestleMania? And if so, what are we looking at? I'll start with you, Mayor.
I think that looks good on paper, but I think it dismisses so many people that can vie for the title. I know it was an internal rumor that there was going to be like a multi-man match. I still think that's the case. Me personally, I think it's too early for Penta to get gold. I think if you did that singles match that way and Braun goes through Penta, that's a big stage to lose your first singles match on. So I think having more people in that space would help. That way we can get get the title off of Braun safely. I'm still of the imagination after these past few manias that Sheamus is finally going to capture that title. And I think we're just waiting for the right stage to do it.
Interesting. Courtney, do you think Penta's got next for the Intercontinental Championship?
I'm going to have to piggyback on what Mayor has to say, because I don't want Penta to get the title too soon, especially with the fact he's been on Raw. It just kind of would be very not a hard pill to swallow, but I just don't want him to get the belt too early. And as Mayor mentioned, there was a report floating of a multi-man for the Intercontinental Championship match. But I wouldn't be shocked if Penta was in it. Of course, Sheamus having his moment. Also, be on the lookout because possibly Dirty Dom might be included in the fray. So lots of pieces in this Intercontinental Championship match.
Honey, one of the things that seems pretty evident right now is that the Judgment Day is going through some challenges. There was even talk potentially of Penta being invited into the Judgment Day, which that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Is there a future for Finn Balor in the Judgment Day? And what do you think the future of the Judgment Day looks like?
Only time can tell. And obviously time is telling us that it's not going in the best of directions. I believe that Finn Balor is a lot smarter than Judgment Day thinks he is. And I think he's already catching on to the fact that they're getting a little bit sick of him. And we've been seeing a demon floating around backstage, on the picture frame in their background and stuff like that. So I can only hope and pray that can invoke our demon Balor to, just pretty much rid himself of the excess baggage that is the Judgment Day. Because I think it's time for Finn to go back to being solo.
Seth, let me ask this question as a follow-up. This time last year, the Judgment Day was on an unbelievable high. They were the tag team champions. They were the women's world champion. At one point, you had Dirty Dom with the NXT North American Championship. Judgment Day doesn't seem to even be feared like they were this time last year. Is it time for new members for the Judgment Day, or is it time for Judgment Day to split?
See, the thing about new members, I can't even think of who they would be or if they're even signed with the company right now, where it would make sense. Because there's a lot of strong personalities in the Judgment Day as it is. If you disband them, I feel like you'd have nothing for Carlito. I feel like Finn would kind of get lost as well, like he has in the past, because they kind of always keep him like there, never really give anything meaningful. I think if there is a split, it might come via the draft whenever that happens.
which is supposed to be shortly after Mania.
Yeah, I think you'll probably see a clean split. Maybe like maybe that'll allow like Liv and Raquel to go their separate ways, barring the titles as well. I think that'd be the cleanest way to do it. I can't imagine what new members. I think new members would be cool, but that would also show a reluctance to get rid of the group. I think you've had 3 iterations of this group right now, and they've kind of hit their ceiling. So I mean, I think they only keep the Judgment Day together just because there's no other dominant faction on the Raw brand. Like the LWO is not a dominant faction. You just got rid of the Final Testament, so you kind of got to have some faction there as a placeholder. And I think they're just waiting for somebody else to emerge where they can safely just wash their hands to the Judgment Day.
Can I ask y'all this? Do y'all see Dominic asserting himself as maybe a potential future leader of Judgment Day with new members that he may find?
Because that makes me think like it could be the Lucha Brothers, and I think that's a disservice to Penta.
Oh, of course.
The way they brought that up tonight.
I just feel like maybe there's someone out the blue that we're not thinking of that could literally be right in front of our face. You know what I mean? Like just picking your brains a bit.
Los Garza.
Special Nobodies has a very interesting idea. Perhaps the rumors of Jeff Cobb coming in, which let me just say this. You give me Jeff Cobb and you run back Jeff Cobb versus Penta from the Lucha days.
Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go get my popcorn for that.
I forgot all about that name, Bozo. We don't know where the hell he is. Hikaleo. No idea. No idea. I think there are endless possibilities. I do think at some point Dominic does end up becoming the leader or a leader of something at some point to be able to kind of step into that space. It does feel like the Judgment Day does not feel nearly as menacing or as intimidating now as they did a year ago.
Definitely not.
And so it, even with, and I think Liv has had a great year, Liv's had a phenomenal year, but Liv inside the Judgment Day doesn't quite hit the same. Raquel Rodriguez, who has been great at times, still doesn't feel like, she's hit that mark.
Yeah, it's just giving HBK and Big Daddy Cool, like having fun, just going out there and just shooting. You know what I mean? Like
it's crazy though, because I don't even think it's giving that level of star power.
No, not in that way. But I'm just saying, as far as like they're just messing around with everybody, and they're just causing chaos everywhere, and they feel like they could do whatever they want, but they need to remember that there's bigger dogs out there than they are. So
we will certainly see some other action, of course, that happened at Raw. Jey Uso getting the win there over Austin Theory. And again, the visual is one that you guys won't soon forget, I'm sure. Just send that man everywhere to an international audience. It's just a beautiful thing. How about this situation? Dakota Kai, Ivy Nile, American made, the American luchador, which is what I'm calling him at this point. What happens right now with these two, both Dakota and Ivy? Because I saw something that I thought was interesting with Dakota, and I'll see if anybody else caught it or has that feeling. Thoughts on these two young ladies and kind of trajectory wise, where do they go? Courtney, we'll start with you.
This is really interesting because I really thought Ivy was going to get the win. But of course, we did have some interference between American Made and Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. And that ended in a little bit of chaos. But it's kind of very interesting to see on where this goes, because I really saw at least Ivy possibly doing a rivalry with Lyra and also Dakota as well. But it's really hard to say, because I do see potential in them on getting the women's intercontinental title. And after this, it's kind of like, where do we go from here? I mean, of course, Dakota Kai wants to branch out on her own, and we saw her backstage supporting Io Sky since she's the women's champion. Ivy, of course, supporting American Made. But this is actually going to be very interesting to watch, because I am happy Dakota got the win because she needed that win badly, especially within last week. She needed that win. But it's going to be interesting to see on where these two ladies go from here between now and WrestleMania.
Seth, I'll ask you the question as well. What do you think the trajectory is for both of these two young ladies?
It just hit me because I feel like Ivy was supposed to win this match as well, but Dakota picked up a win that she needs, and she can't get over. Well, she hasn't got over the hump that is Lyra Valkyria just yet. But Lyra will be taking on Raquel next week for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what a good story it would be if Raquel actually did bring more gold to the Judgment Day. We just talked about them kind of needing that validity in themselves. But like, you can tell a really damn good story by Dakota beating her former tag team partner for her first singles gold.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go down that route. So that's what I will tie my horse to right now. That Dakota finally gets her moment against Raquel Rodriguez, her former tag partner, and gets gold. Because I think with Dakota, she's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what it is. She's just right there. I feel like Lyra hasn't really been hidden like it should. Of course, it might in Scotland next week. But there's so many layers here with Judgment Day needing a kind of a lift as well. That I think that would be the best way to go for all of these people involved.
Honey, let me ask you this, because I started to ask this question last week, but it feels very appropriate to ask right now. With the mention of the Intercontinental Championship, the title match next week. Of course, we saw this past Friday, and we will get into what happened Friday in a little bit. We saw Chelsea Green. And so I want to ask the question, with these two new women's championships so far, who has had the better reign and which title appears to be more prestigious? Chelsea Green in the U.S. Championship or Lyra Valkyria in the Intercontinental Championship?
Ooh, that's a good question. And this isn't even like this doesn't even have to do with my opinion. This just has to do with what I've seen as a viewer in my eyes. As much as I thought that they were going to treat this women's Intercontinental Championship as that, that mid-card workhorse title, the way it used to be when it was introduced, with the men's, I would assume same for the women. It hasn't really quite so much been the case with Lyra. She has had a couple of defenses. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. But for some reason, Chelsea has just taken this U.S. championship and run with it, from her weekly gear to dressing like Wonder Woman to knowing her rights, even though, she's from Canada, and she just plays into it so well, and now has two on her security team. I just think that Chelsea Green's reign is growing, and I feel like she's gonna solidify that U.S. championship, kind of almost like the way the Miz did with the Intercontinental title. I feel like she can hold on to it for as long as she can, as long as she still keeps on top of her security detail. And I think she'll be fine. And the crowd loves her, as much as a lot of people give her crap and she gets heat. But that's kind of the point. If you can't take the heat, don't dish it out. But I absolutely think that Chelsea Green has the better reign out of the two titles.
Jeffrey says secret Herbis.
Yeah.
Yes, well said. Well
You're
said.
right. I like that.
With all of this talk of elected officials, let's bring in our second elected official, your tag team partner. The councilman is here. Councilman, how are you, sir?
Have no fear, your councilman is here. Here's my tardiness. I had like 63 meetings I had to take care of before I got it.
I understand, sir. I understand. And thankfully for you, you were able to finish them in 63 minutes or less. So that's important.
Yes, indeed.
I'm going to come back to you in just a second, Councilman. Sed, let me ask the same question to you. The U.S. title or the Intercontinental Championship, who's had the better reign? And which title appears to be more prestigious at this point, Chelsea Green or Lyra Valkyria?
Oh, that sucks. This sucks, because it should be the IC title when you look at the men's divisions and how irrelevant the US title is. But Chelsea's elevated the title it feels like a major storyline on SmackDown every single week,
Mhm.
from the segments that she does on socials, backstage, bickering with Nick Aldis. Now she has Muscle with her. I mean, the tweet Piper Niven just set out over the weekend, like comparing her and Alba to Team Rocket. Amazing. Like everybody's getting behind the character work of Chelsea. And that's how you can. I think before we were arguing, like, hey, in-ring talent versus character. Clearly, character is winning now because Mia Yim has been doing excellent defining her character always around, but she has a ceiling just because of how good Chelsea's doing right now. Like, there's no way they can take the belt off her. And unfortunately for Lyra, and I think we talked about this in the past, I said the same thing about Lyra's NXT title reign. It just doesn't really do much for the rest of the division.
Kind of falling flat a little bit.
So, Councilman, this is where you're entering the group chat because I want to ask the question, and this has been an ongoing question in the world of pro wrestling. But in this case, as we're talking about Lyra in the Intercontinental Championship, Chelsea in the U.S. Championship, is this a case where the person makes the championship or the championship makes the person?
I think in Chelsea's case, she's made the championship. Okay. She's made that championship relevant, and even to what Mayor just said, you're elevating other wrestlers. Like B-Fab is on TV way more. Mia Yim is on TV way more. Piper Niven is consistently on TV. Now you have Alba Fire in the mix. So you are rotating. You have a gravitational pull that's bringing people into making this title relevant. And then, of course, Zelina Vega consistently now, going after the title as well. With Lyra, the title should have made her, but it's just a lukewarm reign, unfortunately. And it's not elevating Ivy now. It's not elevating Max Dupree. It's not elevating Dakota Kai at all. And it's unfortunate to see. And I don't know what she can do really to just make it something better. But right now, Chelsea is just miles ahead of her off of personality alone. And it ain't like Chelsea can't go in the ring either. So that's the real killer of it. She ain't even turned that up yet.
So are we all saying that perhaps the title ended up in the wrong hands, possibly? Is this something that we? Is this something?
I can't believe I'm finna say this.
You know what?
I can't believe I'm finna say this. This would have been better if the boat got it first.
Wow. What'd you say? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Wait, can you repeat that? I'm sorry. Repeat that, sir. What did you just say?
This title reign would have been way better if the boat had it, especially with the book coming out and all the other stuff she's doing now. I'm like,
respect the.
You gotta be joking me.
Respect the boat.
Thank you. I'm glad someone said it. I'm glad someone said it and finally acknowledged it.
I ain't backtracking, Jeffrey. I just think Lyra should just turn herself into a full-fledged bird and just go at it. Like,
straight Vulture, Charizard, and like maybe less green and more red in the flame. Yeah,
I'd be down for that.
Straight Vulture.
Yeah, give me some of that stuff, like the Demon Fin, and she turned into that. Now we got something cooking.
I'll take it.
I'm gonna start counting how many shows I can survive where we don't mention the boat. Y'all doing this on purpose. Y'all done tagged me into the social media post earlier.
Oh my goodness!
You better watch out. She's a friend of the show.
Listen, she at least gave us good matches. We know that.
That's a fact.
And she could have taken the championship to the NWA. Who knows? So let me ask you this, Courtney. What, if anything, can Lyra Valkyria do to make her championship reign more memorable?
I would like to see her do some promos. I would love to see her elevate that work, especially the way Chelsea's doing it for the United States title. I would love for her to at least do some promos, not just in the ring, but even on social channels, even as Councilman said, challenging that bird, like her, that inner Raven bird that she can do, and just be serious saying, I'm the women's Intercontinental Champion. I'm going to take on people at all costs. Doesn't matter who's in the ring. So that's something I would like to see her elevate a little bit, because we all know Lyra is very good in the ring. I just would like for her to take it up a notch, especially on the promo wise, and also really interacting on social channels as well.
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're suggesting that Lyra can make the reign better if she does more promos.
Yes.
Could I ask this?
She has to cheat to win.
Would it also be more effective if she did an open challenge, like the Women's Intercontinental Open Challenge? It still went.
Here's the thing. I'm going to disagree with you, Courtney, and here's one of the reasons why. Because obviously, in-ring work isn't the issue. With that said, in a space like WWE, if you are great at promos, they're going to let you loose and run free. So the fact that they have her primarily wrestling says to me that her ability to do promos isn't a strong suit. So we've forgotten some of the promos she's previously done.
Has she done it?
Well, that's the point.
Barely.
They've done in-ring interviews with her. They've done vignettes on her. It has not been anything that has been of interest, which is why most people can't remember it. Remember, in a space like AEW, great wrestling generally puts you over, but you still need a personality. You still need to be able to have the conversations that will pull people in. Remember, we love Harley Cameron, not so much because of what she does in the ring. We're drawn to Ricochet, not so much because of what he does in the ring over in AEW. In this space, what ends up happening is entertainment is the key. It's in the name of the company. It's in the name of the company. So if you are able to do a strong promo, they're going to let John Cena got 25 minutes today, and he did not punch anybody. There was no physical contact. So there's space for promos. It's just not her strong suit. And so she's going to need something significant, or I can imagine that Intercontinental title reign will come to an end sooner than later.
Maybe the open challenge will help, but I think you would have to see more women. Like, I can't just keep seeing the rotation of Dakota and Ivy. We got to get
Ivy, and it's getting a little redundant. But I was gonna say, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is who Becky vouched for.
This is what?
Isn't that who Becky vouched for Lyra Valkyrie in NXT? You know what I mean? Like, you got to take note from the big time. Like, gotta do something to up your repertoire. You know.
That's crazy. She didn't even have a St. Patty's Day street fight on Raw tonight.
No.
Not even a Donnybrook match for Sheamus.
No.
Did not.
Dang.
That's wait.
Said pop.
Shout out to Penta, a great match, of course, with Ludwig Kaiser. That's hilarious. Okay, so let's talk about Friday night really quickly. We talked about this coming into it Friday night. We talked about the fact that these men needed to win the tag team championships, and they did not let us down. Congratulations to the Street Profits, the brand new WWE tag team champions. Courtney, what did you think of the match?
I will say I did watch a little bit of SmackDown, but I did see them win. Can I just say this for the record? Raw's tag team division.
Courtney, you got one more time to not watch our product.
What?
You got one more time. I'm not watching AEW no more. I'm tuning in to Dynamite 2 months in a row for you. I've watched them pay-per-view for you. If you keep watching 15 minutes of my stuff.
Well, I'm sorry if I had a busy weekend and I'm trying to do as much as I can.
I'm sorry if I had a
story. I'm sorry if I can't help myself.
Today's Monday. You got 3 whole days. That's okay though. Continue.
You didn't have 63 minutes to watch something? Okay. Okay. 63 minutes is all we have. That is it.
Continue, Courtney, with your story.
I did see them win, and I'm very happy that they did win because for me, Raw's tag team division needs to take notes from SmackDown on how they have to handle this because I was happy they did deserve it. And finally, they got rid of DIY. Now I'm getting flustered a bit, but they. I know I am
flustered.
I know, but they finally beat DIY for the belts. Let's get them in a rivalry with the Motor City Machine Guns. Let's just get them to go there. Well, not again, but they want them for the last couple weeks. They really want them.
They had them for a moment. They'll be all right. Go ahead.
Go ahead, honey. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I was actually super hyped about this match in its entirety. It was a phenomenal match. Tag team wrestling, as we know and love it. About damn time, because Triple H, you be doing this thing where it's like you're the magician and you're dangling the carrot in front of the rabbit. You know what I mean? Like, and you're just playing with us, because that's how I felt the last few weeks. Like, it just felt like, are they gonna get these titles? Are they not gonna get these titles? Are they gonna get their shot? Are they not gonna get their shot? Is Motor City gonna take them back? What the hell's gonna happen? But I'm sorry, but
we can't use that slow on this platform, guys.
Wow,
Like,
that's funny. That's really funny.
But but Street Profits definitely 100% deserved that win. It's so crazy to see how they've completely switched up their attitude and gave themselves a bit of an edge, and the crowd was still popping for them and going crazy for them, because everybody knows the work that those two men put in for years. I love pretty much, I think it's also around the same time kind of where they kind of like how they did it right before the pandemic hit, in that last Raw show when they won the tag team titles against the OC, I want to say, and AJ Styles, like with the OC at the time. But they, it's a complete testament to just going full circle and getting those SmackDown tag team champions. And now we are up and they all want the smoke.
For sure. A great night. Also connected to the Street Profits. I don't know if she's still their manager, their liaison, just their good friend. B-Fab ends up in a great match against Charlotte Flair. Councilman, what were your thoughts on B-Fab and her performance this past Friday night?
She did great. Charlotte Hogan should have lost. She should have took down.
I was waiting for it.
She should have took down. Okay. B-Fab put on quite the performance. This was supposed to be her shining moment. And of course, she Oscar'd her. All right. She did Oscar like at WrestleMania. And that's why Tiffy flew on you several times like she should have. But
baby, that cat fight.
I know, but B-Fab, man, listen, keep putting her on TV. Please keep putting her on TV. She is definitely showing why that, again, to what we talked about, that U.S. Championship division is getting better and better.
Hello.
And I think they go start really being what helps lead SmackDown when you don't have Cody Rhodes there.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. So one of the other things that, I'm sorry?
I was saying, let's go, ladies.
Oh, for sure. One of the other things that happened on SmackDown, well, really it happened after SmackDown, we found out on the socials from Lillian Garcia that Friday night was her final night as a full-time ring announcer for the WWE. She has announced that she will be moving on to several other projects. She is still involved in WWE, and those projects are involved with the WWE. But indeed, she has made that announcement. Your thoughts on the second run of Lillian Garcia as a ring announcer? Said.
I think she did a great job. I think she blended in perfectly, especially kind of coming into like an emergency situation in the departure of Samantha Irvin. It kind of felt, it made that transition like business as usual, if you would. You didn't feel the lingering effects of Samantha leaving. At least I didn't. And I think that's all you can ask for. She made the transition very easy from whoever's going to come after her, and the program went on.
Your thoughts, Councilman, on the work of Lillian Garcia?
Here it goes. Get ready.
Her reign is just like Lyra Valkyria's Intercontinental run, lukewarm.
It's so funny because I was clapping with you, like, out of respect for, you know, her being a legend and everything. But now I understand why you really
on
clapped.
the left side. I was on the right side. You know where I'm sitting at. You know, listen. I am biased. I am petty, and listen. I still don't like Mickie James after what she did. Lillian Garcia, you have made the list. Because how dare you mess up my client's name on the debut of her Monday Night Raw match?
The grudge is real.
How dare you? And you'd have done this for X amount of years. I'm not gonna say her age because she's a woman. X amount of years you've done this. You had one job. One job. So that dropped your stock for me. Roseanne. Who you do y'all know anybody named Roseanne besides Roseanne from the show? Exactly.
That's so funny. I really don't.
The real thing I'm pontificating on is the musical chairs here. Who replaces Lillian?
That is the real question here. We know that Alicia Taylor, of course, is kind of the lead announcer at this point, handling Monday Night Raw, which, by the way, is well-deserved. And I will just go on record by saying I love the fact, and this is something that most people probably don't realize, that if all things continue as they are, Alicia Taylor will be ring announcing WrestleMania for the very first time.
In
And so I want to publicly applaud her for all of her hard work, and well-deserved, long overdue, and I think it's going to be great. Let's see. Boza says the guess is Mike Rome goes to SmackDown and Kelly Kincaid goes to NXT.
That'd be dope.
Let's see. Lillian's going to be hard to replace. So we'll see. We'll probably find out Friday night, and we'll see who's handling things there. So
I mean, maybe Mike Rome will make a little transition, and then there'll be room for say a certain NXT Bonafide.
That's what I was thinking.
Or let's skip all of it.
We manifesting the
Bonafide
2025
announcing.
Woo!
I can't wait to hear you say Chelsea Green. I can't wait to hear you announce Chelsea Green.
We will certainly see. Now, one thing I think is going to be interesting, of course, we are in WrestleMania season. We're gearing up, of course, for the WWE Hall of Fame inductions happening the night before WrestleMania Saturday. And a WWE legend has spoken up in terms of who they believe should be involved in this year's Hall of Fame class of 2025. That name, Cyndi Lauper. She is not in the WWE Hall of Fame. Still not in it. Wendy Richter is who is currently pushing for this. Cyndi Lauper, of course, was the, as we talk about the mainstream crossover for WWE, we look at all of the stars that are happening now. Really, a lot of what we see was built on the back of the first major crossover, which was Cyndi Lauper, which ultimately led to WrestleMania. Your thoughts? Do you think that it's time for Cyndi Lauper to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? Courtney?
Absolutely, she should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, people don't realize how much contribution she has made, especially if you go back to the first WrestleMania with Wendy Richter. And also for her, how many females can get in the face of Captain Lou Albano? And not to mention, he was in her music video, and her songs are still played to this day. To this day. And people don't realize she's contribution. I'm like so flattered today. It's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday.
I'm sorry.
It's Monday, but Cindy does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame as much as she has done in the music world, in the humanitarian world, even in pop culture. She deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Courtney, what's that word again?
It's Monday.
What's that word again?
Oh.
That C word you were saying.
Culture. Pop culture?
Contribution.
Oh, contribution. Yep, contribution was that word.
I get the little bouncy bubble in the word.
Yeah. No, you know what? I definitely think that Courtney was referencing, obviously, Cyndi Lauper's contribution to the IGWP Women's Championship. I'm sure she was. Let's see. Cyndi Lauper, what are your thoughts on that, Sid? Should she be in the Hall of Fame and why?
Yeah, I think it's long overdue. I know I was thinking about who was going to be in that kind of celebrity wing for the Hall of Fame. I know they haven't officially announced a tag team either. I think this would be a perfect year doing it in Vegas. And I'll go one step further. I mean, she does have some legendary music. I feel like one of her records could be the records that plays Tiffany Stratton to the ring as a champion on WrestleMania. I think that would be golden.
Girls just want to have fun.
I think that would be golden if they did that, honestly.
Yeah,
She would eat. That would be
a lot
sick.
of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Any thoughts that you have about this, Commissioner? Cyndi Lauper going in the Hall of Fame.
I'm just really
What's that
shocked.
C word? Commissioner, councilman, what?
I know what you meant.
Councilman, commissioner.
I'm sorry. I missed y'all, man. I missed y'all.
I'm just surprised she's not in it already. So that really just shocked me that she wasn't already in the Hall of Fame. I think, yeah, if it needs to happen, and I'm sorry if I don't know this, but yeah, y'all just said it. Like, I didn't even know like she was still here. My apologies. But
she's on commercials and everything.
She was on the VMAs.
I don't have cable. I don't be out here like that. I don't watch the news.
Fair enough, Councilman. Fair enough.
I'm on streaming. But I think, yeah, it's long overdue. I don't even know why it took this long. If it don't happen, something's wrong. Like, let's go ahead and push for that. And I would even say if Wendy Richter doesn't induct her, I would love to see Becky Lynch induct her, seeing as how she played her on Young Rock.
Nice.
That's also a good play. That's also a very, very good play. Honey, let me ask you this question. If Cyndi Lauper does not go in the Hall of Fame this year, what celebrity should?
Ooh.
Damn. You got me on that one.
Well, as you're doing that, and I mean, I do want you to give that some thought, of course, because I want to make sure we answer.
I'm also thinking about the celebrities that are in it already and trying to make sure I don't say a repeat one.
No problem. But right now, we have to take a break because it's been 63 minutes.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like, literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
Indeed, our 63rd minute was dedicated to All Caribbean Wrestling, and of course, you can get your merch now with All Caribbean Wrestling. Saturday Night Vibe is happening every Saturday night on Tempo Network. So make sure you check that out. And shout out to All Caribbean Wrestling, who had a great show last night in the Dominican Republic. You guys will be able to check that out very soon on their app. And of course, you can gain all of the great merch that we have by clicking on the QR code in the right-hand corner. That's what we do at the 63rd minute here on WWT Live. Now, back to what we were saying. Which celebrity, if not Cyndi Lauper, goes in the Hall of Fame this year, honey?
It's crazy because it's like there's so many people on a list that have not yet received a Hall of Fame that have been involved in the wrestling business. Names like Maria Menounos. I don't know why that would come to mind, but I'm just thinking of women. Of course, we have the WWE superstars that are now legends, such as, maybe Victoria or Mickey James. But if you're talking about celebrity status, I don't believe Andy Kaufman is in there, or maybe someone like LT Lawrence Taylor, so a legend. Like, I'm thinking celebrity legend who's still around as well. Like it's just not clicking. But Andy Kaufman was definitely a memorable one in early years of WrestleMania. But I don't see why they wouldn't put Cyndi Lauper, being that she was part of the first. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I got right now.
Okay.
Shaq.
Could be interesting. I did think that Andy Kaufman was in the Hall of Fame. Andy Kaufman is already in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he is in the Hall of Fame. Okay, sorry then.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, no, that's okay.
So then I'll just stick with Lawrence Taylor and maybe like a Marie Menounos. I can't really think of anybody else.
I got one.
Okay.
RoboCop.
What?
RoboCop should go in the WWE Hall of Fame. That was a moment. That was a
a WCW moment.
I was going to say
who owns WCW right now?
No, I get it. Which, by the way, shout out to the WCW YouTube channel. I think that's a fun channel for all of those who love all things WCW. Stephen Amell.
Is this too early for him? For Stephen Amell?
I think one match doesn't make you a WWE Hall of Famer on the celebrity side.
That's tough. Okay.
And so I think that would be. I don't know that he's done enough. I don't know that he's done enough.
I was gonna say Floyd because they're just in Vegas, and I know him and Triple H are kind of tight.
Yeah.
Triple H used to walk him to the ring on certain Floyd fights. I think that makes sense, but I think it was just one match. But he was in a series of moments in the build up to that match.
Yeah, I think the moments building up to that certainly were. I mean, and that led up to a major WrestleMania moment in WrestleMania match back at 24. So very interesting. We'll see how all of that pans out and plays out in a little bit. Rest in peace to an independent wrestler who passed away over the weekend. His name is Vince Steele, and this has kind of hit the independent wrestling community in a very difficult way. And kind of the way this has happened is also tough. He passed away over the weekend at a wrestling event, which is what's kind of really unfortunate about this whole scenario. He was set to compete in a 4-way match that night, and he had a cardiac event. He was rushed to the hospital and pronounced dead on the scene. So
sad.
39 years old. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends and the fans. It's just very traumatic, and certainly to happen in the building when you are scheduled is just very, very brutal. So our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Vince Steele. So we've been talking a lot about WrestleMania. Of course, it is WrestleMania season. And whether you realize it or not, I don't know what this does for some, but the idea that this happened 23 years ago today is incredible. The Rock versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 23 years ago today. I'm going to start with you, Courtney, and ask you your memories and thoughts about this particular match and where it stands out to you in terms of, great matches at a WrestleMania.
For this one in particular, because I remember this was pretty much after the cusp I started watching wrestling in the Ruthless Aggression era. But I actually did see round 2 at No Way Out in 2003, and they actually did show archive footage of the first time that they faced off with each other one-on-one in Toronto, and just seeing the atmosphere from all the fans throughout that match, and especially after the match with The Rock and Hogan interacting. So at that period, you would thought icon versus icon at that time was big, it was iconic. But then when you look back a couple years later, there are some people that are still talking about this match to this day. It may not be as big as The Rock versus Cena was back at WrestleMania, but there are people that still talk about this match to this day, and especially if they were at Toronto witnessing live in person.
I gotta. Okay, let me first say that the match was not in the Ruthless Aggression era. It was at the very tail end of the Attitude Era, 2002. So there's that. The second thing is, I'll let somebody else tackle this. Honey, your thoughts? Hogan Rock, WrestleMania 18. Any thoughts you might have to Courtney's comments as well?
The fact that this is 23 years ago is just absolutely mind-boggling. First,
that
of all.
is mind. That number is
years ago.
just,
I remember where I was. I think everybody remembers where they were when this match happened.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, especially if you were taking in the content for a long time. But God, what an epic moment! And the whole pivoting with the heel and the face and who's what, and that at that point none of that mattered, because we saw something that was literally once in a lifetime. It was absolutely iconic. It was something we never thought we'd see. This is pretty much borderline like we almost didn't get this. You know what I mean? And putting Terry Bollea aside, Hollywood Hogan and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson going into that Hollywood mode and skyrocketing from here. It just, like, without this, you were never getting Final Boss mode at this point. I mean, maybe you do, but in a different way. But this moment right here was literally the testament of two true icons in their respective generations. It just took over everything. And I think everybody goes right to that face off in the beginning. The match didn't even start, and the crowd was screaming and losing their minds just at them staring at each other and looking out at the crowd, absorbing all that energy. I can't even imagine what that would have been like what it would have been like to be in the ring and be one of them for a moment, just to know what that felt like. But God, that must have been amazing. And I think I personally think that it was like somewhere, I think somebody did it, somebody in recent social posts or something like that, where they said this is probably known as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. I don't think they're wrong. There's definitely a moment. Without moments like this, we wouldn't go on a few years later to getting, our Cena versus Rock, and now we have our Cody and Roman. Like, it just pretty much set the bar really high for creating those big WrestleMania moments, and it was absolutely unforgettable.
Seth, talk about the significance of this match. Would you deem it as one of the top WrestleMania matches of all time? If so, why?
Okay, I think I'm going to be the contrarian here. I don't think it's a big moment. It's a big moment between two generations, but it's not one of the matches I go back and I think, oh my God, that's one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. I don't think that. And I'm talking about strictly from an in-ring standpoint. They did their callbacks, they did all the hits. It was a lot of spacing and breathing throughout the match that allowed the crowd to really invest themselves in it. I think that's the best part, is how invested the crowd was in the moment. But when I look at like the match itself, it's not something that I would go back and watch fondly. Like, I wouldn't be like, hey, WWE Network, let me look up this. But I think the fact that you had two people that were at the top of their generations at a time meeting, which you wouldn't expect, I think that's what made it as big as it was. The moment, the fans, the fact that they did all that stuff on the fly as well. I think that's what makes people feel like, okay, this is one of the greatest WrestleMania moments in time. I don't think it's one of the greatest WrestleMania matches, though. I think
Councilman,
there's far better matches than the history of WrestleMania.
Sed makes an interesting point. Would you deem this as one of the great WrestleMania matches or one of the great WrestleMania moments?
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Let me tell you, crack children, something. Okay, not y'all. Whoever had the audacity to say that John Cena versus The Rock was better than this match, you can sharpen some pencils and fall on.
Ooh.
Step on some Legos.
Wait, which one?
Both.
Really?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, not only was this one of the greatest matches, not putting it in top 5, just let's be honest, not top 5. Top 20, yes. Moments and matches, because are we really finna sit here and act like this moment don't still transcend to today? Let's start here. This is icon versus icon.
Hello.
This is Hollywood Hogan versus The Rock. This is the only passing of the torch anybody is worried about, because who are bigger stars than the two of these people in the ring right now in WWE? Nobody. Excuse 500 million Instagram followers. You wouldn't have got that without Rock versus Hogan. Okay, we are so, this match was so important. We have excused Hollywood Hulk Hogan and don't even count him with the antics that Terry is performing right now with his comments. We be like, we don't like Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan can still show up to the barbecue. That's how much this match was important. And to what you said, the fact that The Rock came in as the baby face and in 2 seconds became the heel and had to change the entire match, even if it was the oldies. Okay, John Cena gives the oldies every match. It was 5 move Cena versus The Rock. And y'all want to say that match was better than this? Get out of here, man. The only thing missing, if Hollywood's colors would have changed red and yellow, this would have been number 1 for everybody. Okay, this would have been number 1. Y'all are smoking the finest narcotic if you think this is not one of the best moments in WrestleMania. This was perfection.
I totally agree. It's Mount Rushmore versus Mount Rushmore. It doesn't get any bigger than that. These two are on someone's Mount Rushmore, and they faced off in one of the biggest moments and matches they've ever had. I would go on to say, like, if we didn't, like, since we didn't get AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels, we got something like this. You know what I mean? We still have something like this to hold on to for our good memory and stuff like that, for as far as icon versus icon, because we know that would have went nuts. But yeah, man, this is larger than life.
Courtney, you look like you had something you wanted to say.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
All right, you guys make me want to understand, so I'll take the time and go back and watch.
Go back and watch.
Let me just mention this. And ironically, John Cena made this statement, and I totally agree. So if you were to watch this match with the sound off, you would go, yeah. But as the pandemic taught us, when we watch wrestling with the sound off, it's not the same. It's not the same. This match taught us just how important the fans are to any match. Let's take this out of wrestling for a second and let's take it to a concert. Okay. If you are at a concert and there's that impromptu moment where a certain song hits, right? You don't jump off that song and just go to your brand new single. Not if that's the song that brought the people to the crowd. And if it hits in a way you don't expect, okay, let's switch the setup. Let's do what these people want. Because at the end of the day, it's not about my new single. It's about what brought these people in and caused them to pay $100, $200, $500 to watch this concert. We're in a space right here where we don't even, what they did in 2002 is still not being done today. The ability for people to play off the crowd, which at the end of the day, pro wrestling is about fan interaction. It's about eliciting a response. You can do that in a 25-minute promo like Cena and Cody did today, or you could do that in a moment where you feed off of what these people are doing. I think this is this is part of the magic that AEW has missed. Less is more.
Hello.
No, these guys didn't go out and do, Hurricane Ranas and Canadian destroyers and leap off the top rope through tables and flaming tables. They didn't do any of that.
Oh, don't forget 19 super kicks in the match.
They didn't do that either. What they did was they fed off the crowd reaction. Go back and watch this match and look at what happened at the start of the match.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot overstate the fact that at a WrestleMania, we had never seen a moment where seemingly everything went off script. And here's what I mean when I say off script. When you come in the door, we know who the good guy is. We know who the bad guy is. It's clear. Even if you go back to Bret Hart and Stone Cold at 13, they knew who was who. They did a double switch by the end of the match, but not at the start of the match. At the start of the match, these people are going crazy and they haven't touched. And then they do that look and that turn.
It's beautiful.
My
Cinema.
goodness.
Cinema,
from
caps.
a wrestler standpoint, to pivot working in the ring like that off the cusp. And again, too, with the crowd going as bad as they did, you can't really hear each other.
No.
So you literally have to go off of, okay, how do we now flip everything we said we were going to do and make this work to what the crowd is giving us right now?
And
not too many people can do that.
No, and I mean completely flip their persona. Hogan came in. Think about this. The lead up to this match had Hogan and the NWO hit The Rock with a truck.
Yes.
Okay. Like the lead up to this was very, very clear. It was clear who was on what side.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Hogan comes in, and it's almost like he had the red and yellow on. It was so good that night he leaves the NWO. The next night he comes out in the red and yellow. Like he's hulking up.
Come on.
He's hulking up. And here's what's even crazy.
What?
Here's what's crazier about this match. The Rock does by the time first of all, Hogan hulks up and the people go crazy. Hogan hits the boot, the people go nuts. This is The Rock. What? Hogan drops the leg. They're counting 1, 2. Rock kicks out. The people are like, oh my God. Rock gets Hogan down for the people's elbow and is angry when he's throwing the elbow pad. And then he does the move and he does it and they're with him on the elbow. Wait, how'd y'all switch that fast? And then they count to 3 and it's over. And then you have Hogan. Go back and look at how Hogan gets up and he's holding his side. Hogan in that moment looked like he aged 30 years.
Yeah.
In a single moment.
And he played that really well.
You felt sorry for Hogan.
Yep.
How do you feel sorry for the guy who's killed companies and we knew it? We knew it. We knew it. The same.
We didn't care. We just didn't care.
And so before we had Roman, before we had the Bloodline, before we had Hogan Rock. Mm-hmm. Told one of the greatest stories and proved why fan interaction matters in pro wrestling. Doesn't matter if you come up and do all of the hits and all the great moves if people don't care. It's about getting people to care, and they made people care. So do yourself a favor. Go back and watch this match. As a fan, just listening to the crowd alone, you can't help but to get caught up.
I'm gonna hit up TK, put in a bid for us to do a watch along on the match.
There needs to be a watch along for this match.
We'll dissect
That's fair. That's fair. I was 14 at the time. Maybe I don't remember it as fondly. I'm down to learn.
Man,
I'm telling you, you go back and watch this match, and
It
you'll
was
see
beautiful,
why
man.
it's one of the most significant matches in WrestleMania history, and honestly, in wrestling history, because again, what we're talking about is for wrestlers and people entering the business, it's one of those moments where you go, this is how you control a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you respond to a crowd, and don't get too locked into what's happening. Especially when nobody says, wasn't Toronto known as a heel territory? I kind of remember Well, no, Toronto wasn't a heel territory. Toronto was a pro-Canada territory. So if you go back and remember that time, going into that a couple of years before, right at the end of Bret Hart's run in '97, Bret Hart was a heel in America, but was beloved all around the world. And Canada was a big part of that. So they
too.
And anywhere that I was too. Yeah.
Well, and there it is. So by all means, we might need to no, I don't need to give TK any more ideas for any more shows. I'll hold on to that one. Let me hold on to that one. With that said, as we're talking about WrestleMania, we're gearing up for WrestleMania in Vegas, which is just a couple of weeks away. And we learned something very interesting, that there will be 2 more shows happening at the Fontainebleau Hotel, which is the official hotel for WrestleMania. We've got, of course, the Hall of Fame happening on the 18th, which is that Friday night. And now we know that Saturday night, the Undertaker's One Dead Man show will take place. That's an interesting time. Saturday. Oh, no. That's okay. It's Saturday, 10 p.m. Pacific.
On the 19th.
That's all right. Because it's Pacific. Because I'm thinking, how are you going to do that with WrestleMania happening that day?
Right.
So that's happening. That is Pacific time. So if you can stand to go to anything after WrestleMania, there's the One Man Dead show happening on night 1. And then we close out all things WrestleMania week with NXT Vegas, which will be happening at the Fontainebleau as well on April 22nd. So you're
why that
dealing...
girl still on that poster?
Oh my god.
What girl? What's wrong with her? Who are you talking about? You're not talking about Stephanie.
Julia.
Oh, you saying this for Cindy? Oh, that's why.
Well, clearly this was made 63 days ago before all that happened. Okay.
That's likely true. So NXT, again, what a great weekend.
I don't know why the Don's on there.
Yeah, well, there's that. There's a lot of things happening. And to your point, Special Nobodies, actually, Ashe Wrestling is kicking off WrestleMania week on Thursday morning. So you guys can definitely check it out. Wale Mania will be that night. There will also be some great things from All Caribbean Wrestling later that night. It's going to be a full, crazy, wild weekend. And you guys are not going to want to miss all things as we're leading into WrestleMania in Las Vegas. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Here's how you can reach out to all of the people here on WWT Live. Courtney, how can they find you?
Well, they can always find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. You already know this Wednesday, I do my watch along. Every Wednesday, AEW Dynamite, 8 p.m. You do not want to miss this week. We're kicking off the road to AEW Dynasty in Philadelphia next month. They can also follow me on all my social channels on @CourtneyNJ11 on Twitter and Instagram. There will be content with Queen of the Ring from the red carpet earlier this month. There is content happening in the coming days. Please make sure to follow Bell to Bell because they will be having their show Ring the Bell this Saturday. So you do not want to miss out if you are in the Jersey area. And I will be there in person. I will be there if you want to catch up with me. And also make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling because I will be doing a lot of stuff with them in the coming weeks soon. So a lot of stuff happening in the coming months.
Very good. Shout out to Raymond. What did we think about John Cena explaining the hail tone? Actually, once we finish the show, you can go back because we talk about it at the top of the show. So you can go back and check out our full explanation on that. Councilman, how can the people find you?
You can find me at 63 Days Strong on all social, YouTube, and Twitch. Also, get ready for our new podcast, 63 Days, with myself, the mayor, and Jacob. It is going to be a phenomenal podcast about the 63 days that Julia was champion. We are breaking down the minutes, the seconds of this incredible reign. That is, it's just like John Cena versus The Rock. It is an unforgettable title reign, and we cannot wait to make a podcast dedicated to that 63 title reign of Julia. That's what you can find.
That is great. Cousin says I have some associates who work with folks over at ISPW. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome indeed. Mayor, you have worked so hard today. How can the people find you?
I don't want to be found, but I will piggyback off the councilman and say when we get that podcast going, we will celebrate Julia's one big moment, which was at New Year's Evil. It was all downhill from there. But who you can find is my oppressor at TK Trinidad. Let her know to release the film. Number one, she got to release the clips, release the articles. The work has been done. It's still not up. I can only give you guys so much of me. So you're only going to see me this one day this week. I'm on vacation starting Wednesday. But you know the socials. You know the website, www talkpod.com. There's at least 3 articles there right now. There should be more that should be released that are already written. So talk to the oppressor. Ask her where my body butter is. Ask her where my article's at. I've been on untapped with the content, but you guys don't see it. It's like John Cena. I don't know where it's at.
Wow.
But I can't do nothing else for y'all, you know? I mean, yeah.
Wow. Well, Mayor, you have certainly worked hard and you've earned your vacation for sure. So enjoy your vacation. Honey, how can the people find you?
Before I get into how the people can find me, I just want to piggyback off of something from my tag team partner and where else you could find him.
Hey, Garcia, you have made the list. I have no idea how much that's going to get used. I promise you.
Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Dylan.
Wow. Also, too, I forgot to say who else has made the list.
Oh!
That's right. Courtney, you are on the list in pencil. In pencil. You can read Lily and Mickey James are in ink. You are in pencil, ma'am. Until you watch a full Smack. How you gonna do SmackDown watch-alongs and not watch them?
I'm not gonna whip that.
I'm so done. The finger, it was this part, right? I was like, why is he putting the one up? Who's he acknowledging?
I know he's gonna point towards Professor. I was like, oh, no, I don't know how this is gonna work on some of these when I be pointing.
Oh my god, you can find me at I missed the absolute hell out of you guys. For sure. Today was so heated. You can find me on Wrestling with Honey on all the social spaces. Honey Pot Predictions, trying to get that back in order. Your girl's just been busy in a brand new Honey Pot and just adjusting to schedules and such. But you can also find me on Friday because we are back this Friday and next Friday for Honey Night SmackDown watch along. So excited to be back. I know there's been a lot of build-up excitement, and as we get closer to the road to WrestleMania, I'm just glad to be around for SmackDown to do it. So please feel free to join me there on this Friday. And you'll find me popping in and out here, WWT Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, you know, when I definitely can. Oh, my Lord. Oh my Lord. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Well,
no, he didn't.
I mean, this is why you have to stay till the credits roll, folks.
Is he going to come here and defend Cody?
You
in all black for the 63 days?
Big Papa Duty
here. Congratulations to you. Have we congratulated him?
No, I haven't personally yet.
Huge news. Dion is a new father, so congratulations to you, sir.
Big Papa Dion.
I appreciate it. We're supposed to be talking to Will and Honey, but they sent this link, and I'm like, I'll get in there now. but I didn't know y'all were wrapped up. So, how's it going, everybody?
we are well. We are literally on the closing credits. So, what would you like to share with the people, sir?
Oh man, 2 weeks in being a dad? It's wild times. Man, I just saw the John Cena Cody interaction. Seeing Cena up there was like seeing Superman say, Metropolis, fend for yourself. And it just did not feel good to me. So other than that,
I think it's great.
Yeah, we'll see. It still hurts.
He was missing one line, and if he'd have said it, great.
You know what's gonna happen. He gonna go cry in the car.
Yeah, you ain't lying. I probably kind of did.
He did already. He's still doing it.
You know who else gonna be in that car with him crying? She's gonna be crying for 63 minutes. Just letting y'all know that.
I need to know. Like, I'll wait.
Oh boy,
Julia was champ for 63 days. That is where 63 comes from. Okay, 63 days as champ.
I could have definitely guessed that, but
you
all this hype behind her, changing the women's division, and in 63 days, Stephanie Bakura took everything from
y'all. Better stop before she come up in here.
Oh, she was there when it happened.
She was here.
Karma. She was in Madison Square Garden when it happened.
She bought tickets for that.
She bought tickets for that basketball.
I just got back from vacation.
Baby girl. Oh man. Air hug.
Nah, air shots. That's what that is. Put that career in the coffin.
Professor, my apologies, man. I should have waited a little longer.
All good. All good. Well, you guys, of course, can find me at Bonnerfied across all of the social spaces. I've got some new content coming your way this week, so be on the lookout for it. You're going to enjoy some of the questions that we're asking. Also, if you did not get a chance to check out Saturday Night Vibe this past Saturday, I had the privilege of kind of leading the charge in terms of doing a recap of our previous 2 episodes and then getting you ready for our big Dominican Republic show, which happened this past Sunday. So go back on the app and check that out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Plus, we've got all kinds of things happening. We're getting ready for Ashe Vegas, more with All Caribbean Wrestling getting ready to go down, more new shows from Southern Honor, and all sorts of other fun things coming your way. So be on the lookout for all of that. Again, check us out at WWTalkPod across all of the social spaces, wwtalkpod.com, stories, merch, all of the things. Shout out to all of you in the chat who just make this just the most fun experience on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Without you guys being here, this just doesn't happen. So thank you so much for all of your continued support, and shout out to everybody who's part of our panel. You guys are such hard workers, and we appreciate all that you do, all of the opinions, all of the thought, all of the effort that goes into doing what we do. It's a big deal. People don't understand how courageous one has to be to get on a camera and talk to the world and know that your opinions can either be received or scrutinized, because it's the wrestling community. So I applaud and appreciate each of you for doing what you do. It's what makes WW Talk Pod what it is today. So with all of that said, thank you guys so much for what you do. And if you are missing Monday Night Raw, because it normally comes on at the top of the hour, you can go back and watch the live. You can go back and watch it on Netflix and play the watch along at the same time. It'll make you feel like it's happening all live. It's kind of cool to do. So that said, until next time, hey, we are Women's Wrestling Talk. We are kind of the #1 women's wrestling network, but in some places the #1 is really 63. Figure it out.
Wow. Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkPod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.